Happy Friday, everybody. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. How are you doing today? Big show. So much to discuss in 2 hours. 2 jam-packed hours. We're going to be talking about the new Fantastic Beasts movie. We're going to be talking to the writer-director of Duel, which is an indie sci-fi movie that is, opening in theaters today. The writer-director of that film, Riley Stearns, will be here with us later to answer your questions. And I have some questions. Indie sci-fi, is it blowing up? Is it blowing up as Hollywood blows up or continues to self-immolate? I cannot wait to talk to you all in the chat. Post your chat, questions, comments, concerns. So much going on. Can't wait to talk to you. Let's kick things off, get things started. Hold on to your... I'm going to hold on to my coffee is what I'm going to do. I'm holding on to my coffee. So let's go. Welcome to our Friday edition of the Film Threat podcast. Some people like to call it a live cast because we are live every Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm happy to talk to you today. We talk about all the movies opening in theaters over the weekend. We also talk to writer, directors, filmmakers, and we bring them directly to you. Because yes, sometimes I get access to filmmakers, and I would like to share that access with you. So you also have access to those filmmakers. So you should do yourself a favor right now. Maybe you're watching this on your television using an app, or you're on your iPad, whatever, on a separate device. Look up the trailer for this movie, Duel. It's D-U-A-L is the movie. And we are talking to the writer-director today. Check out that trailer, or maybe after this in your own time, go ahead and do that. And you'll see it's an incredibly bizarre, fun, indie sci-fi movie starring Karen Gillan. You all know her from the Marvel movies. You know her from the Marvel movies. And we're going to get into that. I'm excited today because the world is changing. The world is changing in all sorts of good ways. And I don't know, you can get down on stuff. I've always been kind of a very, I'll allow myself to be upset for like a short amount of time. And then it's like, wake up, let's go. Come on, let's go. Positivity, let's go. So I'm generally a very positive person. And that's, it's difficult to maintain these days, for sure. But one thing that has me very excited, because this was a thing I used to love. I used to love Twitter. I used to love posting on Twitter, and I would post jokes, and I didn't have to tell people before I posted a joke that it was a joke, so they understood it was a joke and didn't take me seriously. I would also talk to people about movies, and in a way where we all kind of shared and celebrated. We didn't try to tear someone down because they had an opinion that differed from our own. We were just like, oh, that's interesting that you prefer this alien movie over that one, or you loved Prometheus. What? I have theories. I love an ongoing film discussion. That's why I actually prefer YouTube and the conversation that we're having to the conversations that you observe on Twitter. But Elon Musk is making a hostile takeover, I might say, to get Twitter. And I love it. I think he has the right ideas in mind, which is to transform the platform. I think he's exactly correct when he says that he doesn't have confidence in the current staff there. I don't have confidence. I don't use Twitter all that often. I post a couple times a week, and I post and ghost. I'll post and then I'll check in like maybe a day later. It's, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But I used to really engage on that platform, and my apologies. If you follow me on Twitter at that Chris Gore, well, what can I say? I don't know. I don't engage as much on Twitter as I used to, but I have made friends over the years. But an interesting thing that ties in. So Elon Musk is the price he's offering for the stock per share is $54.20. A little in joke to himself, a 420 joke he made, which I think is kind of, I love that. I love that he did that. And a buddy, I don't know. So I'm friends with a guy named you may or may not know who this is, Chris Prynoski, who is a brilliant animator. He's been in the industry for years. He runs a company called Titmouse Animation Studios. Perhaps you've heard of Titmouse. They do shows like The Venture Brothers, a lot of shows like Metalocalypse, an amazing show, Metalocalypse. And Chris Prynoski, his studio, Titmouse Animation, they've done a lot of TV shows. They also do commercials. Very successful studio. And Chris is a 420 guy. And I received this in the mail, but I need to ask your question. So he sends me this. Okay. It just says, happy 420 Titmouse, right? I don't know. My camera's doing this weird thing. I have the Logitech C9 920 or one of those, and it goes in and out of focus. My apologies. I'm still working on my setup, folks. Still working on my setup. But here we go. It says happy 420, and then he sent me this. I need to show this to you. He sent me this thing, and it's wooden, and it has like, I don't know, it doesn't open, but it has like this thing on the top. I feel stupid. What is this? I'm not a smoker, never was a smoker. I'm not a drug guy. Alcohol is my, I do like to drink in moderation, but what is this? Is this where you put your marijuana cigarette? Is that what this is? I don't know what this is. I feel really dumb. So if someone can explain to me what this is, I don't know. Max One Up says, is that a one hitter? I don't know what a one hitter is, Max One Up. It's not a tobacco pouch because I can't open it. Justin Falzone. Well, we'll find out. But before we get into that, I want to I'm going to set this aside. Before the end of the show, I'm going to figure out what this is from somebody. But we're going to bring on my colleague, Alan Ng, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat, is about to come on and join the conversation because we have movies to discuss. I'm excited about this Elon Musk thing, and I've been paying attention to it. I'm loving the meltdown of all the journalists that feel like they're running things, and by running things, the conversation. And I don't like that. I think everybody should be at the table when we're having a conversation. Diversity of opinions is my favorite type of diversity, and it's not quite as appreciated as much as it should be. But I have a very special message here from Caesar before we kick things off.
Humans, why are you not reading Film Threat magazine? You filthy humans, you should know your place, and your place is to be reading this magazine. Yes?
Well, Caesar's kind of living in the old. Hey, Alan, how you doing?
I'm glad we're going to survive the apocalypse. That's
we might survive the apocalypse. I ran into that guy, had like a perfect Caesar makeup from the old school Planet of the Apes, and he was at Monster Palooza in Pasadena. Which Monster Palooza, if you've never been, is I don't know. It's a great horror convention. I love it. I go every year. There's Monster Palooza. And then there's Son of Monster Palooza. Son of Monster Palooza is in the fall. Monster Palooza is in the sort of spring. I don't know. Maybe it's reversed the other way. Anyways, Monster Palooza is a great con. And I go there and I ran into a guy named Caesar who recognized me in my Chris Gore costume. And then he came up to me and we had a whole conversation about Film Threat magazine. So that's where that happened. But
I had a vision of you in a cage.
Right, yes, dressed like Charlton Heston in like, a very an outfit I probably wouldn't normally wear. But before we get started on our reviews and talk to people in the chat, I need to remind you, we are Film Threat on everything. We're Film Threat. So you can contact us, go to filmthreat.com/contact. You can, you know what I'm kicking off? You can send us an SASE. Now, what the hell is that? It's a self-addressed stamped envelope. If you mail it to our physical address on Wilshire Boulevard, which is basically just a mailbox I've had for I've had that mailbox since 1996. I've had that mailbox. If you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you back some Film Threat stickers. Might even throw in a pin. I don't know. Depends. The more postage you put on, the more free stuff you get. And what's cool about that is you can make your own video, like one of these videos that are made by just sort of fans right here. How's that taste?
Film threadalicious.
Or as I like to say, our reviews are delicious.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
On that note,
I'm never hungry after reading filmthreat.com.
oh my God. So just, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036, USA. This offer is good outside the USA. Just send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll know what it's for. If you also want to mail us anything, you could mail me one of these. I don't know what this is. You could mail that to me.
You put your weed in it.
Is that it's? I'm sure it has something to do with weed.
People are saying, can you twist the top?
What's that?
People are saying, can you twist the top on that thing?
Twist. It does not. It does twist. I didn't even try.
Oh.
Guys, it twists. Okay, it twists, and this.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, now I see
weed
what
in
this
it.
is. Oh my God! Thank you for everyone in the chat. I am such a noob on this stuff. So this is empty right here, and then this thing is like, I assume that is a cigarette-y type thing. All right. Well, I
bet it's used to thwart the security dogs at the airport.
Well, there you go. Yes, it's encased in wood. So thank you for that. And also, please like this video, share, and subscribe. We have a very special treat, actually. Once we reach, we're closing in on 40,000 subscribers. When we reach 40,000 subscribers, I have a video that I've been working on for years that is going to expose Alaning. It's going to expose Alan. It's a video that involves Alan. When we reach 40,000 subs, we're going to have a little celebration, and I'm going to debut that video. But make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you just discovered this podcast here on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And also, as always, last plug, folks. My apologies. These are taking so long. I'm just enjoying the chat and talking to you. You can go to shop.filmthreat.com, pick up a Film Threat t-shirt. This was our original logo in 1985. I created this logo. This is true. I created this logo. I was going through an issue of American Cinematographer magazine, and there was this clapboard that said film production. I blacked out the word production, and I wrote using whiteout, and no one even knows what whiteout is. It's when you make a mistake on a typewriter, and I painted the word threat because I wanted it to look very punk rock. So there you go. And just a reminder, Film Threat t-shirts, cure nudity on contact, guaranteed. Before we get into our review of, we are going to talk about Fantastic Beasts because I have thoughts.
This is going to be a fun discussion.
And thoughts about Fantastic Beasts. I want to go into the comments and just do little shout outs to people here. Here we go. I'm super excited to see who's here. Son of the Red Fox. Alan knows a little bit about one-hitters, apparently. There you go. Gabriel says, dang, I barely arrived and Chris is already hitting up some cigarettes. I'm not a smoker. In the times that I have tried the Mary Jane, it has been in the form of a brownie and or a gummy. I'm not a smoker. There you go. And Derek Douglas. See, Alan is only starring the ones that say nice things about Alan.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna see how that goes. Derek Douglas says,
I
love Alan. You always look as if you're under control, but about to unleash so serious shit.
Yeah. Well, hey, wait till we talk about Fantastic Beasts.
Okay, we'll get into it. Patrick Lemire says, I watched Doomed last night on Amazon Prime. So much Chris Gore and so heartbreaking. Yeah, it's heartbreaking because I love the Fantastic Four, and how's that going to go? I don't know.
And the movie was made. And
yes, the movie was. And it's also that Fantastic Four movie is the most accurate to the original Stan Lee Kirby first 100-issue run of the Fantastic Four. Mike Diver, thank you. Twist the top. Oh my God, I'm whatever. I will always seek out advice from the internet when it comes to drugs. Okay, Patrick Lemire, watch how suddenly people who bought Twitter thought Twitter was a positive force, decide Twitter has too much power. I know it's weird to see people freaking out, and people disparage, rightfully so, disparage the blue check marks, of which I am one. I got the blue check because I was at G4. I worked at G4 at the time, and I don't know. So I got it. And whatever. But you know, yeah, it's weird to see them all freak out. Like to me, like I believe that more speech is a good thing. And I am a, you know, I'm a freedom of speech guy. You know, I'll respect. I don't. Your opinion, if I am stalwart in my values, your opinion is not going to affect me. Not going to affect me. It's this. I grew up with a thing: sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. I don't know why this is not. Is this not taught on the playground anymore? Who knows?
No,
Who
we're
knows?
taught that silence is violence.
And the sound of one man laughing. Thank you for joining us again today. I love to see the same people popping into the chat. Elon is welcome to it. I enjoyed it, but I avoid conflict. I just avoid pointless conversation. Conflict I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid to engage with someone where we disagree and we can disagree respectfully and discuss. That is not how Twitter works. Twitter is all about reputation destruction. It's about taking people down. Or as a friend of mine says, it's where celebrities go to apologize. It's a horrible platform. I actually think it's terrible for kids in terms of their mental well-being. I saw a report recently that kids are just kind of hopeless because there's just a profound lack of optimism in our world these days. So it's sad to see. It's sad to see. Infinite Main says Musk is a true revolutionary. I agree. I've followed him for a long time. His tweets are just like what he did to. Did you see the tweet? He sort of replied to the Saudi Arabians.
No,
it was beautiful. I'm sure there are keywords I can't say that will get demonetized, but whatever. Derek Douglas says, hey, Aaron Paul puts me off from Duel. No, he's Karen Gillan is the star of Duel. So Derek, stick with it. The director's going to be here at 10:30. The director will be here in an hour, but we're going to get into this real quick. So I'm just getting through all your chat. Some of these interesting, the chats that were starred by Alan. You got Alan's attention. Arthur Binnis says Secrets of Dumbledore was like a buffet of food you kind of like, and you just keep eating because you already drove there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, well, and then there you go. Anarkitty 83, good to have you back. I'm not sure if you guys talked previously about this movie, but I was curious if you've seen The Night House, and if so, what are your thoughts? I've not seen The Night House.
Yeah, Norman saw it at Fantastic Fest.
Huh.
Yeah, he kind of gave it a positive but kind of a meh review.
All right, well, when it comes out, usually these things we do like to kind of time our discussions on YouTube. If you do go to filmthreat.com, we have a lot of reviews. We reviewed Duel back in January. Now it's coming to theaters, and it's because our team saw it at the Sundance Film Festival. But we tend to do the reviews on Film Threat, when we're able to see them, which is sometimes earlier because they play film festivals. And I've been going to film festivals since I was a kid. But on YouTube, we like to time the coverage so that when you see us talking about it, you can actually go watch the movie either in the theater or you can buy it on VOD. And excuse me, I'm only halfway through this cup here of coffee. Only halfway through my Batman cup of coffee here,
the question is,
you have like a go-to mug. This is my go-to mug.
I think the question is, how much drinking did you do after watching Fantastic Beasts?
Well, I needed to do a lot of drinking. I did not drink when I saw the movie. Well, I had to drink a soda. I had a Mr. Pibb Zero, which is basically Dr. Pepper. It's Diet Dr. Pepper. Mr. Taz, this movie is Hollywood's attempt at subtle Trump bashing. We're going to get into that because you are absolutely right. It's about an election, and it's about interfering with an election. That's what the new Fantastic Beasts movie is not about a hero's journey of a young boy, which the Harry Potter franchise is all about as he traverses school and we see him grow up and, face challenges and mature. No, it's about interfering with an election. The new fucking Fantastic Beasts movie. That's what it's about. Why can't they just focus on making good movies? Only enjoyable moments are with the quirky CGI animals.
Which ironically is the election process there.
Right, exactly. But let's get into it. Alan, I want to hear your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts I want to hear your thoughts, because when we talked about it before, you were not able to you didn't want to get into spoilers, and we're going to let everybody right straight up. We're getting into spoilers because this is
yeah. I mean, not deep spoilers.
So if you want to bow out and not hear spoilers, I don't know how much the spoilers matter. It seems the movie itself just seems very episodic in the sense that Fantastic Beasts, the secrets of Dumbledore. Dumbledore has secrets, and the secrets are 6 seconds that they cut out of the China release. But the it's like this thing happens, and then this thing happens, and this thing happens, and it's sort of like, here's an excuse for an action sequence, and this other thing happens, and this other thing happens, and I just, I wonder, like, who's this hero's journey for? Who is it for?
You think it's Newt Scamander, but it kind of is, but it's not. It's not really.
It's not really. It's like, so there is some confusion, and this was an issue with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Who's the lead character of that movie? My argument is the lead character for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Alan, hold what you're about to say.
Okay.
The character that goes through the hero journey in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is Jar Jar. Go look at Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, what the hero does. He's an unlikely hero. He's cast out and leaves his homeworld, returns to his homeworld, becomes the hero. If you track Jar Jar's story in Star Wars Episode 1, the lead character of the movie is Jar Jar. The side characters are Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Anakin Skywalker. But this movie has the same problem. Who is the lead character? Who is this movie about and for? And Alan, I really want to hear your review, because I want to get into my problems with it. I don't want to ruin everybody's day by launching right into it.
Someone made a comment about it, and I agree with it. When I got a chance to go to an early screening of it, I decided, well, I better see the first two, which I had never seen. In fact, the first one I had seen halfway through about 3 times. And then on top of that, my daughter and my wife, they love this series. And so, take that for what it's worth. I think I'm much more positive about the third one because I watched the first 2, and I was kind of already in the story and carried through. And so I think I have a general positive attitude toward the third one. It's clearly the best of the 3. It does, sum things up, and it does leave possibilities for the future. But there are problems. You brought up one. Who is the hero? You think it's Newt, but it's really not. I think it's the series feels like a big story leading up to what Harry Potter will ultimately become. The thing is this is what I find interesting is Harry Potter was a book that was written a long time ago, and J.K. Rowling wrote it over, I assume she wrote it over several years, and she had years upon years upon years to develop the story of Harry Potter. With Fantastic Beasts, I feel like she didn't have a lot of time. There's a little bit of rushing through it, and also because Harry Potter is written for children, but with enough to engage adults, she kind of takes that sensibility into the Fantastic Beasts series, and it's a story about adults, but I think it's written for children, and and so I kind of take the it is what it is aspect of watching it, and so I mean I really like the third one. I like you talk about the Trumpian stuff, but I saw something a little bit deeper than that, and so there we go, we have it, and I'll probably go back and watch Harry Potter over again.
Well, there are very thin connections to Harry Potter. I mean, none. There's more of a connection to Hogwarts, the school, and that world, which was already built very well.
And Dumbledore and McGonagall, that's pretty much the only link there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I just, several thoughts on this. Okay. Again, who's the lead character, I think, is an issue. One other thing that just observing, I don't think anybody left. We had about 90 people watching before I gave the spoiler warning, and no one is left. And Turo made the comment here earlier, where'd you go? Turo, we have much to chat about. So, oh yeah, Turo says, someone tell Chris spoilers only pertains to movies that are good and movies people actually want to see with anticipation. This Fant Beast movie is just content. You could not be more right, Turo. It's just content.
It's just a story. It's a historical story, basically.
And Solomon Thornton says most Hollywood films today are about ideology instead of story art. I agree. I mean, the one thing is, on the positive side, the one positive side I can say, the production design is fantastic. I think the settings, the character designs and wardrobe, the creatures, right? The Chillin, that thing, how the Chillin worked with it's like this beast that can kind of like, see the future. And once you get sort of that beast's approval, it's like Bambi. It's like a scaled Bambi, right? Like it's a Bambi with scales. And if it bows before you, then you perhaps are the chosen one. And this creature, the Chillin, can see a bright future with this particular leader, right? It's not unlike that David Cronenberg movie with Christopher Walken, where he shakes the guy who's running for president. You guys have seen that movie, Dead Zone, right?
Yeah.
He shakes the hand of the candidate running for president and foresees that he's going to be the cause of a nuclear war. The Chillin is like Christopher Walken in the Dead Zone. That's what the Chillin is. So look for that. But yeah, we almost got 100 watching, says Flaccid Phoenix. Thank you for that. But yes.
So you didn't see, just to clarify, you did not see the first two movies.
I've seen the trailers for the first two movies, and I've heard that the first one is delightful. So I went in cold, but I can catch up. Yes, The Dead Zone. It's a strongly recommended movie, says Fletcher Williams in Film Facet. Totally agree. Derek Douglas says The Dead Zone is awesome. Yes. And David Cronenberg has another movie coming out. I just saw from A24. I just saw the trailer. And I think I'll post the poster. If you go to our Film Threat Instagram, the Film Threat Instagram feed is like pictures of our merch that we sell in our shop and then weird movie posters, like really weird. And I try to group them in threes of like ones that are very similar. Like, there you go. Like if this is my dream one day, total tangent. I would like to do an art exhibition where we take the classic poster from The Spy Who Loved Me. Do you know that pose? It's the poster from the James Bond film, The Spy Who Loved Me, is from the back of a woman's very long, lanky legs. And she has kind of like this, almost like butt floss, right? It's very sexy. And you've seen that repeated. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to see artists interpret that exact design, but with other movies. So, for example, The Empire Strikes Back, but using those sexy legs, or Schindler's List. And so it's a whole series of classic films, but done in the poster style of The Spy Who Loved Me. Maybe that's a project I should do, as like, I do a lot of like weird art projects. And one of them is, and I don't have any, I'm going to talk about this one day, called Celebrities Poop. That is a children's book that I put out years ago. This is a very, and my friends have learned to tolerate this over the years. I'm going off into many directions, but let me come back to my main point. This Fantastic Beasts movie is not about a single character necessarily, which is a weakness on the production design and special effects side and everything else. And the acting, with the exception of one character who tries this, what's that actress? She's doing this terrible accent and she's awful.
Yeah. She is American too. I think it's like Jessica Lewis.
She's awful. What's her name?
I think it's Jessica Lewis, not having looked it up. But
yeah. Maybe you can look it up. Maybe you can look it up. It does this accent. And it's like this sort of like, it's sort of an old school American. It's awful. She's so bad at that accent and she stands out. All the other actors in the movie are really good. They're fine, right? They're very good, with the exception of this actress who, like, her accent is so bad, it just doesn't work.
It's Jessica Williams.
Jessica Williams, yeah. The accent ain't working. It's just not working. And it kind of takes me out of it, because everyone else, like someone said earlier in here, Jude Law is good in everything. Jude Law is just good. He's good in everything, despite the fact that, he's in some bad movies. This being among them. But things that didn't work for me are plentiful, and one major problem with it. The one being, the one major one being the lack of a lead character, right? That kind of drives the story. The second thing is the underlying politics of the film, where this is sort of it's a commentary on Trump and elections. Oh, I want to see that in my fantasy films. It's one thing to sort of it's very overt and it's very obvious and it's tired. And movies that do that, I feel, will not stand the test of time. This is a problem when a movie is rooted in the current day politics and or what's in the news. I feel like what it does is it's dating itself. It's immediately dated. Yeah. So the fact that this entire story is really driving towards an election that they're going to have, right, in the wizarding world, and that Mads Mikkelsen's character is basically, I mean, he's Trump, right? He's basically a fascist. It's just tired. And the second thing, and this is the biggest thing for me, the biggest issue with this movie is the distractions outside of the movie. And let me explain. I'm watching the movie going, Ezra Miller tried to choke out a girl on video, and we've seen that video and never heard a peep or a word. Ezra Miller has also been in the news with regard to he was arrested and this, and he threatened to kill a couple, and there's been no official comment or word from him or apology or anything. And not that I need it's fine. I don't need some apology from him, but I would need to know that, is he okay? He posted that weird video threatening the KKK and said that they should end themselves. Did you see that video that was he posted on his own social media? Ezra Miller's batshit. Secondly, we have the shadow of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, or the JDAH trial. See, now I said it, we're demonetized. We're demonetized. You've got that. So they replaced his character, right, with Mads Mikkelsen, which is fine. Okay, they did the replacement, but I'm aware of it. And then we also have, so you got Ezra Miller drama. You've got Johnny Depp drama. And also what I know of the trial, because I did watch a little bit of the AHJD trial, I feel dirty and filthy for even knowing details about their personal lives. I don't care. I have never cared about the personal lives of celebrities. I don't care about the opinions of celebrities. I just don't care at all. And to know what I know about, the personal life of JD and AH is, I feel dirty. I feel sickened, and I watched it for a little bit and tuned out. This thing is going to go on for 3 weeks plus, right? And both of them look bad for it. But Ezra Miller is just straight up crazy. I saw him in Hall H when Zack Snyder introduced the Justice League, and he was wearing a princess toadstool. He was dressed in some weird outfit talking about taking down the patriarchy. I mean, the guy is a nutcase. And yes, Rekieta Law, Shelby AC. I have been watching Rekieta Law. So I'll just have to watch the clips. I can't watch the entire trial. I was just really feeling sickened by it. And Fletcher Williams demonetized, monetized for $1.99. Fletcher Williams, thank you. And you had another one here. There was another super chat up there. Don't let me forget it. Another Fletcher Williams. Accent assassin on the loose. Yeah, the accent was awful for that character, that Jessica Williams. She has a bad accent, and it stands out because all of the other actors are so good, and she's not.
Yeah, well, I think she's a replacement in the movie.
Is she?
To Catherine Waterston's character. Because they filmed it during COVID,
Right. Well, in any case, all I'm saying is that, so I'm watching the movie and I'm mindful of, and then not only that, you have J.K. Rowling, which she is basically, ruined her own career by, going woke after the fact, sort of saying, oh, by the way, I know I wrote all these books. None of this was in the books and there was no suggestion this is true. But by the way, Dumbledore, gay, which, who cares? It has nothing to do with it. Why also is it important to know the sexuality of every character? I don't care. Unless it's integral to the story, like what's Dan Fogelberg's character, Kowalski. and Queenie, like their relationship, and they have this. There's a wedding at the end, folks. There's a wedding at the end of this. But
Well,
yeah,
if you had seen the first two movies, you would be excited about that wedding.
oh, would I? Okay.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, Alan, that like I am mindful. And so like J.K. Rowling kind of went woke, and then she's had this sort of pushback with the whole turf thing, how she is, and she's allowed to have her opinion, but it's so I don't know, like it seems it's a distraction watching the movie. I'm watching the movie thinking about there's Ezra Miller, and he look, Ezra Miller I think in real life is weird. His character's really weird, right? I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on that, Alan. Ezra Miller's character.
I mean, I go a step further than you when it comes to celebrity gossip. I just stay out of it, and I'll see what I see on Twitter and Facebook, but I just don't get into it. So it didn't bother me as much because I honestly don't care. Hollywood is such a cesspool, and for me to obsess about the lives of actors, and it's like the whole my take on the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing is this is we went down a specific track as a society when Trump got elected, and now we're seeing the repercussions of it, and it's just frustrating as hell. And so I was able to pull myself out of that while watching the movie, and and I think that helps.
Well,
I think it has to help going forward, because this is not going to end. We're going to see these great movies, and some point someone's going to dig into someone's past, find something stupid, and then blow it up. And then where it's like, why?
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. Again, I just feel dirty knowing all of this behind the scenes stuff that's happening. And someone just said, this is Film Thread. It's not FNT. I'm going to be on FNT later this afternoon. So if you are a viewer,
for the 6-hour marathon,
Friday Night Tights, I'm going to be sitting there for 6 hours in this chair. I'm going to have to order some food. I'm going to have to order some food in, because I am not like 2 hours doing Film Thread on a Friday morning. Okay. And then 2 hours on a Wednesday night where we do our Hollywood on the Rock show. Fine. But man, 6 hours. But this begs the question. Will Fantastic Beasts survive without Johnny Depp? Well, they made this movie. It got released. Mads Mikkelsen was a last-minute replacement. Having seen those first two movies, is the Mads Mikkelsen replacement, Alan? Is it how does it affect it?
I mean, quite frankly, I like when I've always liked Johnny Depp because he pushes the boundaries of characters with, Jack Sparrow, with Grindelwald. I mean, he took a very, a weird approach with it, like he did with Jack Sparrow. He had a dead eye or something like that. And then they just got rid of him, put in Mads Mikkelsen, who just basically put in a great British actor performance, and just kind of took the oddities and weirdness from Depp and took it out completely. I will say I can envision Dumbledore and Grindelwald as lovers better with Mads Mikkelsen than I did with Depp. But I like Mads Mikkelsen; he's a great actor. But they just, I don't know. It's just like they changed him, much like the first film when Colin Farrell was Grindelwald, and then changed into Johnny Depp.
Well, I am going to leave out the imagination, the imaginary romance.
I'm thinking of it now. I'm playing it over in my head.
I don't want to, because I don't care. Do we need to know the sexuality of every on-screen character that we see? There's a certain group of people who seem to care about that. I'd rather not know. I don't want to know, Alan, you're happily married, you have a daughter. I don't want to know what happens behind the scenes between, like, I don't want to know every single day. I don't need to know. We're friends, and I've hung out with you and your lovely family. They're great, but I don't need to know every detail. And I feel like there's a weird obsession.
Well, all you have to do is ask. I mean, really.
I'm not gonna ask you. I don't want to know. But now, so interestingly, I actually saw this movie with my daughter last night. My daughter and I would go out to like a movie night. We do and my daughter also is an adult woman. She is an adult female woman. I don't know why that's so hard for some people to say, but I just said it. So my daughter and I would get together, we do a movie night and kind of pick a movie we're going to see. And so she grew up on the Harry Potter books. She read all the books, at least through the 5th book, she told me. And then she kind of like, because the movies kind of caught up and she was just like, I'll just see the movies. And she was a little kid and she read those
long books.
Yeah, they're I mean, they're great. It was just like, I never read the books, but I got to experience the movies with my kids as they grew up watching these movies. And this is her first Fantastic Beasts movie. And the thing that she liked Newt. She liked the creatures, and she thought everything else was awful. And she is not a J.K. Rowling fan. She's not a fan of the fact that J.K. has gone woke. She is. It's sort of like it's you're changing. You're just sort of changing what the fiction that you already wrote. Just leave it be. Right. She's trying to alter it after the fact. And she did not respond well to it. We had a whole conversation after about the
So
movie.
when she went turf, did that change anything?
No, she doesn't. First of all, my daughter could care less about social media. She thinks people who spend way too much time on social media, it's a waste of time. She'd rather be doing other, more productive things. Right. Unfortunately, social media is interwoven into the work that we do, Alan, because it's really, we don't have a marketing budget like other media outlets. The way we promote what we do is on social media. It's the cheapest form of marketing, even though they have these algorithms that, boost larger companies and diminish things like film threat, which sucks. But obviously Fantastic Beasts survive without Johnny Depp. I was just curious what your thoughts are. But here's the bigger question. This is the bigger question, because this is news. A 4th movie in the Fantastic Beasts series has not been officially announced. Warner Brothers is waiting to see the performance of this film and how well it does at the box office, and also how it's accepted critically. Right? Do people love this film? Do they want to see, the directions that it goes? Is it going to finally make some direct connection to Hogwarts and Harry Potter, or at least not Harry Potter directly, but Harry Potter's parents? That could be the case. Harry Potter's parents could come in, as youngsters, in this at some point, depending on how far they advance the timeline. But will Fantastic Beasts kill the Harry Potter franchise? You've got all this drama, right, with Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller, there were rumors that there's been a discussions at Warner Brothers to just like not use Ezra Miller. And we can't trust this guy with our big franchises, DC movies, The Flash, and/or Fantastic Beasts. Maybe we just don't work with this guy. They already cut off Johnny Depp, which I think was a tragedy, because that was before. There's clearly a double standard. Men are immediately guilty and women are not. I feel like let's let the facts speak for themselves before rushing to judgment. But the drama with J.K. Rowling on social media, the replacing of Johnny Depp, the Ezra Miller, insane nonsense, all of that, contributing to Fantastic Beasts. Is that going to affect things like, is it going to kind of like, does it make the Harry Potter franchise look worse by comparison? Right? You have like this revisionist history that J.K. Rowling's trying to throw on it. I even heard something, correct me if I'm wrong. Did she say that like Hermione was originally intended to be a young black girl? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I've never heard that. This is the first time I've heard that.
Maybe this is why I love the internet and the chat with people here, is they correct me when I'm wrong. I'm not someone that like, look, I like to get the facts right. We're having a conversation. The chat is part of that conversation, but I want to ask, will Fantastic Beasts does it make the Harry Potter franchise look worse? I will say this, the one thing they've gotten right is that theme park. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is the best immersive theme park experience you could possibly have at Universal. Again, I am just a customer. I have been an annual pass holder and will more than likely buy annual passes come the summer when I have more free time to actually go to a theme park. And I don't live too far from Universal. I love the Wizarding World. You go there, it's a whole experience. You can get butterbeer. You can get butterbeer with a shot of Jameson. Although I recommend bringing your own Jameson. It's a little pricey, but that's just me. But do you think does it make the Harry Potter franchise look worse by comparison? I mean, people talked about that like with the Star Wars sequels, right? The Star Wars sequels, I think, make you look back on the original trilogy, and Kenobi is going to tie into this, right? When Kenobi comes out on Disney Plus, is that going to make us look at Star Wars and go, well, they already fought like 3 more times, and then when Kenobi first went to Tatooine, blah blah blah, then he went off planet, went back to Naboo, and he talked to blah 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 blah. Like, do all these things where you're telling stories outside the main story, and what you're doing is you're not expanding the universe, you're making the universe smaller, because the only things that seem to matter are references to the original films and or parts of the franchise that built the franchise. So when you get to that place and you're not creating new things, right? You're just sort of piling on the old thing. And I think you're making it worse by comparison. And I want to know what you think in the chat. And before we go to the chat comments, Alan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There are 2 things going on here. First, there's the Discovery merger with Warner Brothers. And the reports is that the CEO is cutting, is trying to, he's supposedly looking at each division and asking questions as to, like, why aren't you making any money? And so, I think of, aside from DC, Harry Potter has legs behind it still. It'll be interesting to see what the box office here is. But in terms of a story, I think there's more, assuming it does moderately well, there's still story possibilities. I do like the fact that that there's only minimal points of contact between Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter. Because I think the next logical step is, this is pre-World War II. Now we're moving to World War II. So what is the wizard's role in a world where Hitler is there, where Muggles are killing each other? That maybe that's where they're going, maybe not. They've also solved the Ezra Miller problem without saying anything beyond that. And so it's like, I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's dead, not even in the same way that Kenobi continues on.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Maybe Harry Potter survives unscathed.
Are you saying, yeah?
But Fantastic Beasts as a franchise,
it's over.
Maybe it's over. Let's go to the chat comments here. Fletcher Williams for $4.99. Thank you. Alan, don't take no lip, no wizard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, I'll get to your point. I think this is the Fantastic Beasts. This is a trilogy. It's 1, 2, and 3. I think if they move on to another movie, it'll be another trilogy.
Oh, you think so? Okay. Well, we'll see.
They ended it pretty neatly with this one.
Well, you could walk away and that would be the end, but you know how Hollywood is. Yeah. They make everything to death.
But I'm saying the newt and the cute animals, I think that story has been told.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Chris Clark says, because every franchise these days, awful prequels. And Patrick Lemire says, hopefully they won't mess the theme park up with Fantastic Beasts. So, and Scott Slaughterbuck, yeah, lol, I was wondering if Star Wars was going to come up. It always comes up.
Yeah.
It always comes up. It's our forgive me for bringing up Star Wars, folks. Holy Hand Grenade says, nice mug, Chris. I have a better mug right here. That's the Film Threat mug with both the current logo and the classic logo. There you go. B-Roll says, I remember Star Wars. And Fletcher Williams also goes on to say, prequels are the most horrid form of modern trend.
Yeah.
I'm not vetting these comments. I'm just sort of clicking on them here.
Romina, you have a great story. Why is it so hard to extend that story forward in the future?
I don't know. Romina Jones says, most folks I know don't follow entertainment news, so all this actor drama is meaningless or unknown to them. Well, I would like to be blissfully ignorant like them, Romina. Mm-hmm. Great comment. Appreciate that. MK Solid 82, Obi-Wan is going to be riddled with problems. Everyone needs to prepare themselves. Oh, I'm prepared. And I am going to be at Star Wars Celebration that weekend. I will be at Star Wars Celebration that weekend in the parking lot, tailgating. I have a giant R2-D2 cooler. I'm going to fill it with White Claw and you can make fun of me all you want. Now, probably
Do
won't
you
be
have
White
an
Claw.
Obi-Wan
Actually,
Kenobi
you know what?
drink?
I actually prefer not White Claw or Truly. Those are fine if they're at a bar, whatever. Now they have Truly on tap at the Yard House, but I actually prefer the Corona seltzer is the better one. It's that's my favorite one. Please, there we go.
I think you need a Kenobi drink for the parking lot.
There's going to be, if there is a drink at the hotel bar that's like, the Death Star killer or whatever, like I will order that drink. It's got bourbon, rum, and I don't know. It's going to be a mix of horrible things. I'll have a hangover from too much sugar. Deadhouse says, I do think the pendulum is swinging back on the woke left. I agree. You can kind of feel it. I think this Elon Musk situation, purchasing Twitter that we talked about at the top of the show. I think that is a good sign. I just think that, and here's the thing on the woke left, it's been around forever. It has existed. It's just never been in popular media, right? It's never been in mainstream media. It's always been at Sundance. I've been going to Sundance since the 90s, and it's always been there. And indie film, a lot of indie films are very like woke messaging, right? But to be fair on that for a second, those are intended for niche audiences. A lot of that's, and it's like, and that's fine. It's like, these are movies, a lot of the stuff that leans into a lot of progressiveness and far left issues. Those are a lot of small indie movies that we also talk about at Film Threat. I like to say, and I'll remind people, we are politically agnostic as a media outlet. And I wish other outlets, I'm not going to name any of the trades by name, but you know who they are. They are not. They are clearly on one side of the political aisle, and we remain solidly. My politics always been very centrist, which means I could probably be called a bad name. But I think that like seeing those ideas that basically only appeal to a very small niche audience now become mainstreamed is very bizarre to me. It's very, very bizarre. There's a super chat I missed.
But have we gotten to this super chat? Sorry, this super chat.
No, we had it. Happy Sanjo for $5 says,
oh no, I'm sorry. This one.
Ice-T is the GOAT. Happy Sanjo, are my super chats going through? Love the stream. Happy Sanjo, they are for $2 and for $5. Happy Sanjo.
Sorry to do that. I just need to make sure we got.
Thank you for your support. Someone's got to pay attention to the chat here. I can't. They're going. Fletcher Williams is just let me grill, says Ratzel. Calling Chris a bad name. There we go. And Ramina Jones, centrist, unpopular now. Yeah, I've been a centrist. So you know what I do? Sometimes I vote for one side. Sometimes I vote for the other. In the 90s, the religious right, I did not like the way that the way that they went after music, the way that they which to me speaks to freedom of speech, the way that the right went after protesting gay funerals and gay I did not like that. I did not like the religious right of the 90s. And now I kind of feel like the present day left has become everything I didn't like about the right in the 90s. I think they're both have issues, which is why I allow myself the freedom to think for myself and vote accordingly. And there you go. The Patrick Lemire says, the new Disney CEO has been so disappointing. We announced Disney was a for-profit business. I thought the woke was done. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, that's a whole other. I don't know that we have time to go into that rabbit hole. We have 30 minutes. The director of Duel, Riley Stearns, will be joining us here.
So, I will say, if you need help thinking, come to filmthreat.com. We'll tell you how and what to think.
Look, I will never tell you how to think. I'll tell you about movies. I'll tell you my opinion on things, and you are free to disagree. You're free to also, change my mind. I'm an open-minded individual, but I'm also like a guy that I don't like to be labeled. I've never liked labels, right? Which is why, the only guy I actually gave money to during the last election cycle was Andrew Yang, because I liked a lot of the things he had to say. He's since started his own third party. I don't know that it'll go anywhere. It's called the forward party. And I follow Andrew Yang. I gave him $5 because I wanted to see. I gave Andrew Yang effectively a super chat because I wanted to see him on the stage. Because he avoids all that, back and forth, pitting the two parties against each other. He speaks specifically about solutions to problems. If you want, there's a great 3-hour interview with Andrew Yang on the Joe Rogan podcast, and that's where I became aware of him. I really like that he speaks to solutions to problems. Shouldn't we all be having that conversation? What the solutions to problems are, rather than spiking the ball and celebrating a touchdown because our side won. Do we really win when our side wins? How about I don't know, solutions to problems?
But do you understand that if we solve the world's problems, then why would we need politicians?
Well, yes. See, that is what the Dune books. I'm going to start, I'm going to start doing Dune references. Dune is all about mistrust of politicians and charismatic leaders. It is a warning. And when Frank Herbert wrote Dune, Paul Atreides, who he was thinking of? JFK. JFK is this charismatic leader, and we all look on JFK as this good-looking, charismatic leader who got us into Vietnam, who started a war, right? And he modeled Paul Atreides after JFK. Frank Herbert did not like JFK, did not trust him. He actually liked Nixon, because at least Nixon was you get what you see, what you get, right?
You know what he is.
Evil in the guise of charisma. Look, I'm in a state with freaking Gavin Newsom, basically the guy from American Psycho. So there you go. Oh wait, $20 super chat. Thank you. Used web cartridge. Hey, used web cartridge for $20. Thank you for joining us. It's the first time I've heard from you. Wanted to show some support to another one of my favorite channels. You guys are awesome to listen to during my workday. Looking forward to seeing you on FNT, Chris. Going to be asking which is a better battle, Death Star 1 or Death Star 2.
Wow.
I'm going to say Death Star 1 because I feel Death Star 1 battle was more emotional. It was about Luke believing in himself and therefore believing in the Force. And it was much more emotional than the second Death Star battle, which is maybe more spectacle and certainly more exciting. But I feel the emotional weight is that first Death Star battle. And that's my answer to that.
Does it change knowing that Mads Mikkelsen put a vent hole in the side of the Death Star that...
Yeah, well, exactly. But Patrick Lemire says Dune is about space coke. It's also about that. It's about space drugs, but it's also when you read interviews or watch interviews on YouTube, you can look up interviews on YouTube with Frank Herbert, and he's talked about this where he really, Dune at its core, the story of Paul Atreides is about do not trust charismatic leaders. But there's a layer to that because Paul Atreides can foresee his future, that he will become this leader of a holy war across the galaxy, and billions of people will perish because of his actions. So what he's trying to do is undo that. So it's a much more interesting character. It's kind of like if Anakin Skywalker knew from when he was a kid that he was going to become Darth Vader, no matter what he did, his fate was laid out for him, that he would become this evil Darth Vader, Jedi, Sith Lord, right? Or Sith Lord. And as if Anakin was trying to undo his fate. And that is kind of a way to describe how Paul Atreides is in the first 4 books are the books that I got to the 5th book and I kind of checked out. And Dune Messiah. Yeah. Arthur Binney. Wait, Arthur, I missed your comment here. Arthur Binnis says Dune Messiah makes it super clear. Absolutely. Dune Messiah. If they can make Dune Messiah is basically Revenge of the Sith, but darker. Yeah, it's and saw a quote from Denis Villeneuve. He talked about making Dune Messiah. So the idea is that Dune Part 2 Prophet is going to be made. That's basically the first book. Dune Messiah will be the 3rd book, but he wants to make it in 10 years because basically like I think it's 12 plus years have passed. Like Paul is in his early 30s when Dune Messiah starts. In the books he's he's 15 I think. In the first book. And, look, Paul Atreides is basically, Timothy Chalamet is going to have to put on some weight to convince me he's an older.
I know he's going to look exactly the same in 10 years. That's the problem.
There you go. Yeah. So Max One Up says, I want to see an R-rated Dune Messiah movie that doesn't hold back from the insane levels of space genocide. Yeah, they really should like show that, like the cost of war, right? Like it's such a dark, and you look, and what's so funny is you look at George Lucas lifted so many ideas from it. I'm told that Frank Herbert behind the scenes was none too pleased. Desert Planet, Twins. You know, I don't want to get into it, but there you go. But you know, maybe we should switch gears here. I want to actually plug a thing that we're doing and let you know that part of what we do at Film Thread is not just support independent films. We support them every year by putting on an award show. That's right, Award This. So if you go to awardthis.com, you can see all the nominees. If you go to filmthreat.com, you can look up Award This. I'm going to be posting some. There's actually a playlist of trailers for all the nominated movies for Award This. We review about 2,000 plus indie movies over the course of a year at Film Threat, and we acknowledge I think we have like 73 nominees this year across various categories: indie sci-fi, indie comedy, indie horror, documentary, pop culture documentary. So if you want to really look at the best of independent film, go to awardthis.com. Check out our nominees for 2022. And it's the award. This is the only award show. It's the only award show you can buy a ticket to. You cannot get a ticket to the Oscars. You can't get a ticket to the Spirit Awards. You can buy tickets are going to go on sale. I think next week I'll let you know, but I wanted to let you know you can come party with Alan and I. You can. We're gonna be in Santa Ana, California, at the Frida Cinema on Saturday, May 21st. We put on this award show. It's basically, you know what it is? It's just a big party. It's just a big party that we put on every year. And I want to show highlights from one of our previous years. It's, you're going to get drinks. You're going to be able to hang out with me and Alan and the rest of the Film Threat crew, along with filmmakers, all the nominated filmmakers. Well, I'd say not all the nominated filmmakers. Some are from overseas and they're not able to make it, I'm told. But we're going to have a lot of nominated filmmakers there. So I hope you show up for it. Here's some highlights from one of our previous years where Barrick Hardley, who's a comedian, basically distills down what it's like to be not just an independent filmmaker, but a creator.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to award this.
Thank you for being here. We're here to give recognition to true indie movies.
This is very special to me, so thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Film Threat.
This means so much to me because the creative process sucks ass and every part of it is brutal. I was writing shit and going, oh, this sucks, man. And then you give notes to someone, they're like, kind of sucks. And then you find somebody who wants to make it and he's like, we don't have money. And then you get money and then you're like, fuck, now I have to make this shit. And then you see the first edit and it fucking sucks, man. We're all gonna release our shit into the ether, hoping our grandkids will watch it and appreciate us? No one gives a fuck, but Film Threat did.
There you go. Award This is happening. I want you to join us. It's an award show also with a sense of humor. We get comedians and critics. We have surprise comedians that come out. I don't know. It's awesome. I hope you will join us. If you're a filmmaker, yes, you can win one of these. You can win our little award here, which also you can use to sip your favorite beverage. It's a dual purpose there, but I really hope you join us. You can go to awardthis.com to get more information. You can also follow Award This. It's the biggest night in truly independent films. Follow the Award This on Twitter, Instagram. There's a Facebook page if you're still doing Facebook. We don't have a TikTok though, but follow it. I hope you'll join. It's basically just come to a party where we can drink and hang out together, and you'll get a gift bag. We put stuff in the gift bag. Like last year, we had these really cool Film Threat pint glasses were in the gift bag. So the tickets are a little pricey. I think we're charging $40 or $50, but you get free drinks, a gift bag. You get to hang out. It's like an all-day thing. There's an after party. So I really hope you'll join us. There you go. And then another quick reminder from the beginning of the show, if you send a self-addressed stamped envelope, if you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you in return. And if you send it to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. I will send back stickers. I'll send back stickers for you where you might be able to make a video like this one.
These movie reviews are delicious. Film Threat sucks.
So we do this whole series where it's like Film Threat. The reviews are delicious. I was at a con years ago. Where was it? It was in Phoenix. And I had all these Film Threat stickers, and I brought a case of Coors Light to the booth I was at. And I'm like, I'm just gonna like drink Coors Light. So I started putting Film Threat stickers on the Coors Lights, and I'd hand them to people, just random people. And I'd say, can you just do something like,
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
so I'll send you stickers. Maybe you can do a video like that, and we'll show it here on the show. Before we have our special guest, the Potty Mouth Chick, Mike Diver, is going to be this. It's a weird collection of creative people. But yeah, the tickets seem a little pricey, but you get a lot for your money. And it's also, we're using the event also as a fundraiser for the Free to Cinema. If you've never heard of the Free to Cinema, check out their website, look them up in Santa Ana, California. They show independent films, and we're taking over the whole theater. We've got there are two theaters, two 200-seat theaters. So we have a maximum of 400 seats. I hope you join us for that. But we have 15 minutes left until our special guests get here. And I want to do two quick reviews right here. Alan, you're going to review Father Stew.
Yeah, saw that last night.
This is another movie that's coming out. So stick with us in the chat. We will get back to you. But Alan, I want to it's a Mark Wahlberg movie. It's in theaters. And what I love about I have not seen the film, but I know something about it. It's a redemption story. It's a story about forgiveness, something people don't do on social media. But you could really read into it, when I watch the trailer and whatnot. I don't know. Alan, what did you think of the film? You saw it last night.
I mean, this is an interesting one. You talked about, growing up, the evangelical movement and all that went through. I was in that. I was pretty full on evangelical at that time. And this reminds me of one of these faith-based films, because he basically and not only is it a faith film, it's rated R. Because of language, and it's got Mel Gibson in it. So what more can you want? But Mark Wahlberg plays Stu. He's this atheist. He's this boxer whose career suddenly ends because of an infection disorder he has. He decides to become an actor, and the best way to get an agent is to work at a supermarket and ask everyone who their agent is or where they work in Hollywood. He falls in love with at first sight with this woman. He follows her to her church, her Catholic church. He basically plays the game, appears to be, holy and righteous, but he's really just trying to, get into this girl's pants. And lo and behold, he finds God. Not only that, as he's pursuing this girl, he realizes his calling is to be a priest. And this is where the redemption story is, because he's been pursuing this girl and he wants to become a priest, he can no longer have the girl. And that's how much devoted he is to Catholicism, to God. And he goes through the process of becoming a priest. And part of it is, forgiving. And he has to confront his father who and his mother, who, he had a brother who died long ago. So there's issues of, where was God when his brother died? And so, it's his journey. And this is an actual true story as well. So I would say this, if you're prone to like faith-based movies, this is a pretty good one. What I like about it is the fact that there is a lot of swearing in it. This has always been my problem with faith-based film is, you can never go into that dark territory, and this one does. And so it's not a comedy. It's definitely not a comedy. And so, I'm gonna throw that one out there. If any of this sounds anywhere interesting to you, give it a shot. but I don't think it'll perform very well this weekend.
Well, I mean, we'll see. It is Good Friday. We've got a couple comments here. Let's get to the comments. Rotten Tanuki for $10. Thank you for that. Says, need help from film buffs to find the title for a movie from my childhood from the 80s. I can describe it as an Indiana Jones ripoff, part 1 of 2. Is that The Sword and the Sorcerer? The Sword and the Sorcerer, directed by Albert Pune, who also directed Captain America. A little bit more description, and we can probably get to it. I start a bunch of comments here, so let's go through those really quick.
Okay.
Let's do this. Chris needs to gain about 50 pounds. I'm on the road because I've been trying to lose weight for a while. I need to drop about 15. That's my pandemic snacking weight that I gained. Chris needs to gain about 50 pounds. Alan needs to lose his hair. They're comparing us to Siskel and Ebert here, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Loom TV make a true independent film streaming platform. We actually, Loom TV, funny enough, we have been approached several times by companies that want to do a film threat streaming platform where we would curate movies. There are other companies doing that already. Troma does one. It's like $5 a month. It's called Troma Now. There's another one. Full Moon Entertainment does, I think Full Moon. Is it Full Moon Now?
No, it's just Full Moon Features.
Just Full Moon Features. Yeah, that's like $4.99. I don't know. I mean, I would love to partner with someone to do it. It's not our core business. Our core business is the website and this YouTube channel. We do make movies. I've got a movie coming out actually at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to be doing a screening of a movie. It's not part of Comic-Con. You don't need a badge. It's going to be screened in San Diego. Alan's going to be there. He's the MC. And it's going to be fun. Gabriel says
the economics are so hard.
People are talking about that the event doesn't. Okay, good. I'm going to raise the price. It'll be $60 then. How about $60? You get a Film Threat gift bag. You get to go to the party. There's drinks. We're also trying to do like a food spread. There are all sorts of rules. And last year we did it at a drive-in. Someone mentioned a drive-in. You can watch Award This. It's on YouTube. The 3 years we've done it. This is our 4th year. The first year we did it on a couch. And Alan was like running the social media. It was kind of embarrassing. And we watched the Oscars. We did live commentary. And then we, at the commercials, we gave out awards. Then the next year we did it at a movie theater, the Studio Movie Grill in Glendale. And then last year, because of COVID, we did it at a drive-in and had a party, but we had to follow all these rules. We had to get $2 million of hold harmless insurance to cover. Yeah. And we had to have a COVID compliance officer. Don't even get me started on this like shakedown of money that's happening in Hollywood. That's really disconcerting.
David Mamet calls them parasites.
Yeah, but you know, it's a fun event. When tickets go on sale, I'm gonna let the filmmakers know, and I'm gonna let you know, but we're not gonna publicize it on social media, only here. So you'll know first, and you're gonna want to grab tickets. There's a step and repeat. It's a crazy event, but you can watch the drive-in event. And John Bailey, who is the voice of Honest Trailers, he's our announcer, and you can meet John Bailey there. Used Web Cartridge says, hey, Chris Allen, you guys should connect with the Critical Drinker, do one of his happy hours. I have been on Critical Drinkers happy hours. I've been on twice. Alan's never been on, but Alan's done some other shows.
Why? Yeah. Do I need to be a drinker to do that? Or
yeah, well, you're not a drinker. A Holy Hand Grenade says Film Thread sucks. Scott, I think I answered that question. It's not a drive-in this year. We're actually doing it in a movie theater. We've got almost 400 seats. Chris and Alan are the new Siskel and Ebert. Unleash the Northmen. We're going to be talking. Oh, I got big news. I forgot about this. This is huge news. Robert Eggers is coming on the Film Threat podcast next week. The director of The Northman will be here on the Film Threat podcast. It's going to be fun. So not only are we going to review and discuss in depth The Northman, because I've already discussed The Northman, but in a very vague way. I did not get into any spoilers. I only talked about kind of what you saw in the trailers. So Fat Elvis, thank you for that question. Robert Eggers next week. Be here. It's going to be awesome. Fletcher Williams, he's very excited. You were doing an Allen review, but this movie, Fathers 2, is a perfect movie for Good Friday.
It is. It is actually a good movie for that. It's a very positive message too. Yeah, hey, Ron Tanaki sent us the second part to his.
Oh, okay. Let's get his super chat here. So it's Ron Tanuki says for $10, set in the Amazon with wild natives, quicksand, big metallic pirate boat, and with its on theme, not Alan Quartermain. Please help. Okay, let's source this one. Ron Tanuki says it's a movie from the 80s. It's sort of a ripoff of Indiana Jones. It's set in the Amazon with wild natives. There's quicksand, a big metallic pirate boat with its on theme. Not Alan Quartermain. Please help. Anyone in the chat. I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't know this.
I was thinking Sword and the Sorcerer is very much sort of has a Indiana Jones, but a more fantasy version of Indiana Jones. It also has pirates, but I know it's not that.
But it does sound very Albert Pune.
Robert Eggers, next week. We usually Alan and I talk for like the first hour of the show between 9 and 10 a.m. And then Robert Eggers is going to be on sometime between 10 and 11 a.m. Just check with us next week. I'm very, very excited to be able to really talk about the Northman in depth, because it's coming out next week. It's next week, right?
Yeah, next week.
So it's coming out next week. So go see the Northman. We're going to have a spoiler discussion of it. And then Robert Eggers. So
I just feel like you're trying to one up my Stephen Merchant interview.
Yes, I am. So there you are. But we've got another movie we want to discuss. Oh, shoot. In 5 minutes, can you talk about Room 203, Alan?
Yeah.
Quick review of Room 203.
I mean, it's
a
definitely definitely an indie horror film. It's based on a novel. I don't know why I don't have it in front of me, but yes, it's an indie horror film. These two girls, they just moved out of their homes. They're on their way to college. One is Izzy and Kim. Kim is going to college. Izzy wants to become an actress in the big city. The only option is this really cheap apartment. And this really cheap apartment, it's room 203. There's a hole in the wall. The hole stinks. It smells. Izzy decides to put her hand in the hole, and she pulls out a pendant. And the pendant has these mystical powers behind it. We think she becomes possessed by a demon. Also, on the big wall, there's a giant stained glass window of kind of the aftermath of a bloody holy war. And then we have a creepy landlord. And so, like a horror film, it starts with these weird things going on, with these weird talismans, and it just kind of plays out. What is this mystery? What is going on? And I think I'm starting to kind of get on board the whole horror thing. But a lot of horror deals with human emotions, and this one, it deals with guilt, deals with letting people go without having to say a proper goodbye, and it kind of compounds upon that. And so, it was fun. It's got all the jump scares. Definitely kind of, your middle of the road horror there.
Well, I have one question, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Is Room 203 a horror film?
I think it's a horror film.
Well, is it?
No, horror is not my genre.
Well, then, okay, all right. Well, it's not your genre. I love horror. When it's more psychological. Is it gory? Because I'm not a fan of like stuff that goes way over the top gore, unless it's like a zombie movie. Zombie movies I like because I don't know, just like zombie movies are about more than what's on the surface, but they don't. I never thought that George Romero was pushing any kind of agenda. Mm-hmm. He was more commenting on consumerism, and that's what the original Dawn of the Dead is about. They're stuck in a shopping mall with everything they could possibly want, but they're completely unhappy because they're surrounded by zombies that want to eat their flesh.
Yeah, this is more the Asian horror, like The Grudge, The Ring, but not as intense.
Oh, okay.
Uma is the same way. It's deals more with spirits, possessions. There's.
I like that. that.
Yeah, but I would say it's light compared to most. It doesn't get to the intensity of The Grudge or The Ring, but it's all there.
Well. Is it out on VOD?
I think it's in theaters. I think it's both. It's theaters and VOD.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Theaters and VOD, Room 203. It's sort of an Asian influence horror film that's creepy and sounds very psychological. So I like that kind of horror. I had an opportunity to see it, was unable to. You and I are both juggling so many things with this channel, and then just
you saw Bad Guys instead, didn't you?
Yes, I did see the Bad Guys. I'm going to talk about the Bad Guys and the Northman next week because that's when they open. And I'm excited to talk about the Bad Guys because it's basically you're going to think it's a Tarantino movie for kids. It's a Tarantino heist movie for kids that adults will like. That's my little preview of that. The director of Duel is going to be joining us very shortly now. Until then, what I want to do is go through your super chats. And this is the graphic I found about Duel. We should talk about it a little bit before the director comes on. Alan, do you want to tell people what Duel is about?
Yeah, this is a very quirky sci-fi movie. Karen Gillan stars in it. She finds out she's dying. And so one service that the world has to offer, that if for people who are dying, they can actually live on into immortality by cloning themselves, basically. And so Karen Gillan's character does that. She clones herself, and then tries to teach her everything about her and her life, and basically move on. What winds up happening, though, is Karen Gillan's character, she's not dying anymore. She's miraculously cured, and now there's a clone of her out there. And by law, when that happens, when you have a clone, you have to engage in a death match, and the winner gets to live on. And so that's the story here.
Wow. Well, the trailer is fantastic. If you have not seen the trailer for Duel, it's in theaters now. Check out the trailer. Karen Gillan looks amazing in this, but I'm excited today that we have the writer-director Riley Stearns here joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. Riley, pleasure to meet you, sir.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You're also here with people in the chat. We'll be taking their chat questions about the movie. The movie played Sundance. That's how Alan got to see it and loved it. What led to this story? And I'm really loving indie sci-fi. Like indie sci-fi to me is just going through a total renaissance now. There's so much good stuff, but how did you come up with this story, and what led to writing and then being able to get the amazing Karen Gillan to star in your film?
I mean, initially the idea, I had a short that I never ended up making between my first feature, Faults, and my second feature, The Art of Self-Defense, where a character was going to interact with themselves. And I really just wanted to do that sort of thing still. So I ended up coming up with this idea of this alternate reality where cloning exists, but you can only do it if you know you're going to die. And then I realized that wasn't enough. Like I needed something else. And I started asking questions about this concept and of the concept. And I got to the question of, well, what happens if you go into remission? And for some reason, the immediate answer that I had for that was, well, you'll duel your double to the death. And that's where the movie really took off for me. Karen, luckily, was a fan of The Art of Self-Defense. And so when we met, she was on the exact same page as me. I'm a huge fan of hers. I think she's so incredibly talented. And the fact that she is in the movie and is as good as she is just I'm incredibly lucky.
Yeah, so she's fantastic. I mean, just did you have conversations about Marvel movies with her, and her affiliation with the franchise? I
guess a little bit. I think we've talked more about her feature debut, her directorial debut, a little bit more. And I peripherally, I mean, I'm not a huge comic book person, so I'm not on that sort of wavelength, I guess. But we did probably talk about that a bit. I know that she was aware of the fact that she would be in another Guardians and all of that down the line. So I'm sure that came up, but I like that she's doing something a little different than what she normally gets to do. And her trust in me was really, really, I guess, humbling, to say the least, because she's so much more talented than I am. So the fact that she trusted me to go down this road and deliver this performance that's maybe a little different and left of center, is pretty cool.
Well, it definitely gave you a huge advantage. The fact that I mean, look, some actors, they're just focus on the acting. And then there are other actors that understand the craft, that understand, storytelling, that understand storytelling via the cinematic sentence, right? And I feel like you really got so lucky to be able to work with her, that she is a craftsperson behind the scenes as well. I think it really just added to the experience.
Definitely. And I should also say that I love working with good people too. And one of the actors in the film, Beulah Koale, he and I had a phone conversation because he was in New Zealand at the time, and when I cast him, and the first thing he said to me was, "Are you a good person?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a good person. Are you a good person?" And and he goes, "Yeah, I'm a good person." And it's the very literal experience that I have with every meeting with actors, where I just want to work with people who are there, who are excited about the project, and get that, like, making movies is fun. We're very lucky that we get to do this. So, like, let's treat each other well and have a good experience making something, because not a lot, like, everyone wants to be in our position. So, like, let's take advantage of it.
Well, I think, first of all, that is a great question. Are you a good person? I feel like
I really love that question. I'm going to ask that of everybody from now on.
But did someone ever answer no? That's my question.
I mean, I'm sure there are actors who would answer a little bit more truthfully and maybe lean towards that end. But yeah, most people are probably going to say yes.
Well, when you see some of the madness happening behind the scenes with certain films, and I don't want to cite examples, but I always sort of tune out when I see like behind the scenes drama. I don't want to know, and I don't care. I'm going to assume the good in people first, and then but I have just having been around as long as I have, not to date myself, but I've seen there are terrible people in this business. So that's a very legit question to ask. I want to ask about Sundance. This is how Alan got to see your film. Was it a little bit of a disappointment that Sundance went just like a fully virtual experience? You didn't get to have that like Eccles Theater premiere in Park City, Utah?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was a disappointing sort of outcome, but it wasn't just disappointing for us as the filmmakers. It was disappointing to the programmers as well, and the festival goers. Like, nobody wanted this to happen, but when you have Park City basically saying our hospital is completely full right now, and if anything happens, we can't take care of people. Sundance made the right call at the end of the day, but it was sad. Like, I've had a short play at Sundance in 2013, and that was an incredible experience. And I was just excited to be back and like have a feature there for the first time, let alone in competition. I think the thing that I missed the most was being able to hang out with other filmmakers and have that like sort of camp experience that you get at festivals. And like you said, we would have premiered at the Eccles, which is just, I mean, it would have been a dream, but I'm very, very happy that more people got to see it because of the experience that we ended up having, being virtual. And we'll always be able to say we were a Sundance film, even though it didn't play in person.
Yeah, that energy in the room at the Eccles, and that, like, they say there's something in the air in Park City. It's like, it's palpable. I remember being at the premiere of Napoleon Dynamite, and just like, it's among others that I've seen there. And it's just, I don't know. And what I love also about seeing films at Sundance is you're seeing the movie untainted by marketing.
Yeah.
Meaning you've only read a description in the program guide, and all the descriptions and program guides are incredibly vague. Yeah. They don't tell you anything. And so you're seeing it sight unseen without having seen a trailer, even a poster, nothing. It's like, here's the title, here's who's in it. Trust us. And I
definitely. I like would have loved that experience, but I'm glad that, again, that people throughout the world, even a lot of people know how to use VPNs. So Sundance was able to play in countries other than the United States too, which is kind of cool and a little punk rock when you think about it.
No, I love it. And congratulations again, just to get there. And I do love that Sundance has recently really embraced like indie sci-fi and indie horror, although the indie horror really ends up playing usually the Egyptian at midnight, which is
cool. This year, I feel like the program, and I was talking to one of the programmers recently, had a drink with him, and when he was in town. And I think the cool thing about the program this year is that the in competition section had several horror films and a couple of like sci-fi leaning things too. They're not afraid to mix it up. And I think that people's definition of a traditional Sundance film is sort of changing as the programmers change and as the directors change, and the festival continues to evolve. Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Before we get to, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. I just want to say, a lot of people in the chat. I'm going to throw up their comments in a second, but Alan had a question about your film. So I want to, Alan, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the standout scenes in the movie is when Trent and Sarah are doing the fight training, where they're talking through every move. And I was just curious. So is that a real thing? Is that how these guys actually do it, or or were you making up? It's a brilliant scene, and I think, if anything, that's the scene to see in the movie.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, well, there's no real personal combat trainer in real life, so like, I guess I had the ability to make up whatever I wanted. But I've been doing jujitsu now for 9 years. I've been training and competing, and I now coach. And one of the things you do in jujitsu is you'll spar and go 100%, obviously, but you also do this thing called flow rolling, where you're kind of going maybe 20%, and you let people get into a position, and then they can get out of it, and then vice versa. And it's more of a conversation, like you're helping each other practice proper technique and thinking ahead. And so it's kind of like the combat training version of flow rolling. Like they're being like kids and getting to talk through and say, no, I shot you, but no, I had my force field on and all that. But then also, I guess I can relate it directly to how you train. And it was a very fun scene to write, but then the thought of actually shooting it, I was just like, how's this going to turn out? And Karen and Aaron just like had the funnest time shooting that thing. And I think everyone on set that day knew we were making something pretty special.
I would imagine that took a long time. I would imagine. I mean, I'd be laughing if I was watching it.
We were cracking up after every take. It was. I think that was half of a day. It was probably like one of two scenes that we would have shot that day.
Let's go to our questions in the chat and comments. Yeah. People are Riley. They're loving you. Look at this. Good morning, Riley.
Good morning.
B-roll. Holy Hand Grenade says, I need to watch this one. Spider Geronimo says, I guess you can't be arrested for killing yourself.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a law that you have to, then why are you going to get arrested for, like, you're just going along with the law? It's in accordance with the law.
Exactly. And our Kitty 83 says, so it's like dual. Sounds awesome. And
I've got a little play on words thing going there, don't I?
It's good. Patrick Lemire says identity theft is not a joke. And here's a question from Spider Geronimo. How many times has Gillan acted opposite herself? Doctor Who, Avengers, Duel? Like, yeah.
It's literally 3 times. You got all 3 of them. Yep.
Wow.
And that's Steven Spielberg's Duel. Remember, I'm DUAL.
Yeah. Well, you're in good company though. But like Duel, like did it present many problems? I mean, I imagine for an actor, like, what is the process? Do you have audio or other videos? So you shoot the one side, then you shoot the clone, and then Karen acts against herself. How does it actually work, technically speaking?
I mean, there's various ways of shooting. There's like camera tricks that you can do where you're shooting over the shoulder and things that are more just like the lo-fi version. But we also on specific days would have a motion control rig. So it's exactly like you said. If you imagine like the cheap version that you can shoot in your apartment, you have your iPhone, you shoot one side of it, you do a split screen, and then you shoot the other side, and then you join those two things together. We were just using very fancy camera rigs to achieve the same thing through motion. So we would have a camera pan with her or move with her. We shoot one side of it, and then she's acting opposite her body double and scene partner, a woman in Finland where we shot named Katarina, an actress who was able to give Karen a performance. And then she goes to hair and makeup, changes out of that wardrobe into the other. And then we go and we shoot her as the other character now. And then similarly to just doing a split screen, we're just doing a very fancy version of a split screen to join those two things together. And I never wanted it to draw attention to itself. So I think that we tried to keep it more on the subtle side and a little bit more subdued and natural. But a lot of work goes into something like that.
Yeah, I would imagine. One of my a film that comes to mind, Dead Ringers, David Cronenberg, such a great use of that technique, and it's always when you don't notice it, I think, is when it's the best.
And I think that was one of the first films to ever use motion control cameras, even as early as it was. It used motion control cameras, which they basically just remember exactly the same move that you did, and then it recreates it to the pixel. Obviously, it's gotten a little bit more advanced since that time, but yeah, I would say that Dead Ringers was at least one of, if not the first ones, to utilize that technology for this very reason.
And Derek Douglas says, hopefully guys like Riley are the directors of the future.
That's cool. Thanks.
Which is great. What? So now the movie is in theaters now. How does it feel having gone through this experience? Because it's so tough to be in the position that you're in, right? You know, doing the short, getting this at Sundance. getting a theatrical release. It's playing at my local AMC in Burbank.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the 16. I love that one.
Oh, you got to go. Well, first of all, that's become, I've run into so many like filmmakers and people there.
That's
and
a good one.
Yeah, the Sonic 2, like was it last week? The director was there and a bunch of the cast like just showed up. So are you going to be checking out your film in a theater possibly?
Well, tonight we're doing the AMC Q&A. Joe Lynch, the director, is going to be doing a moderating, or sorry, is going to be moderating a Q&A with me at the AMC 5 on Sunset in LA. And then tomorrow night we'll be at the Draft House for, I think that one's sold out. My friend Demi is going to do the moderation on that one. So I will be out and about, but specifically those two theaters. But yeah, I love Burbank. To see a movie in Burbank, I'm on the AMC A-list stubs thing. So like, yeah. And so my friends and I will meet up at, I forgot there's a bar around the corner that we meet up
Yard
at.
House. Yard House or Barney's Beanery. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we will obviously like do our cheer for the Nicole Kidman ad, and then I love that Burbank has parking too. It's like very easy to park. And I used to work at that Urban Outfitters when I first moved to LA when I was 19, so it's also just a weird stomping ground sort of situation as well. So.
Well, first of all, I admire you for working retail. I am also I also come from retail. I think coming from retail makes you humble.
I worked in food before that when I was in Austin, and then I worked at Urban Outfitters for a couple of years before I finally got into a writer's room as an assistant and PA, and then kind of worked my way up that way. But yeah, I've been through the ringer.
Some other questions here. Infinite Main, any dance fighting in the movie?
There's fighting and there's dance, but not those things at the exact same time.
And this is a question, I think is like, in terms of like the types of questions you get, this is always a question that people ask. And I think it's important. It's Fletcher Williams says, how did you get your budget? How did you put together the financing?
Yeah, so like I said, this is my third feature. So I'm in a position where it's a little bit easier to maybe get people behind, especially people who appreciate what I'm trying to do. And XYZ, who made the movie, they also worked on Mandy and like they make great science fiction horror sort of genre things. They have a film fund right now that was out of a company from Finland. So this film fund, we were going to be the first movie that was made under that sort of umbrella. And we ended up being that, but it's just, it took a roundabout path once COVID hit. We had to kind of reassess where we were going to shoot, ended up shooting in Finland for the safety of the cast and crew. But I've been very fortunate so far in each of my films. The financing has come from one entity, and they have been pretty hands-off, and the producers have trusted the vision. So yeah, I'm not saying that that's like necessarily the norm, but for me, it's been pretty cool, and I haven't had to worry too much about the finding of the funds. It's more about working with the right producers.
Well, I mean, there's so many different pathways to financing now. You've got crowdfunding. Sure. Usually most first-time filmmakers, it's an angel investor, usually a cousin who's a dentist.
We all have that, right?
Yeah, exactly. But once you reach a certain place, like I really feel like the thing that attracts the financing is your reputation. One, you're gonna get the film done, and secondly, the cast. I think cast, it's underestimated how much a great casting choice will attract financiers. So.
Exactly, yeah. And so we had ours in place prior to our cast, but the cast was also an incentive as well. And I've worked with my ex-wife, Mary Liz Winstead, Leland Orser, Jesse Eisenberg, Imogen Poots. Like I've worked with people that I think that are talented enough that I think that they trusted that similar cast would develop on this side, and it did. And Aaron Paul, Karen Gillan, everybody involved. I'm very, very, again, very lucky.
And Patrick Lemire says, willingness to do indies after being huge movies is a good sign of a good person. There you go.
Yeah. In Karen and Aaron, yeah.
Yeah. Solomon Thornton says, what was your inspiration to becoming a filmmaker, and what were your challenges?
I used to want to be a musician growing up. I played bass, and like I mentioned, my ex-wife, she's an actor. So being able to visit sets and see how movies were made, I kind of started realizing that was more where my interest was rather than music. I initially wanted to be a writer because I didn't want the spotlight, but as I started writing and I was on a TV show as a staff writer for a brief period there, I realized that I also wanted to see that vision through to the end. So I started making shorts, and the one that got into Sundance led to the first feature, and I've been working in features ever since.
Fletcher Williams says the music was great in the trailer. Is the same person doing the whole movie, and who are they? The person who score.
So the music in the trailer is actually just music for the trailer only. It's not a composer that worked on the film, but the composer that I worked with on this movie is a woman named Emma Ruth Rundle. I'm a huge fan of her music. This is her first score. And I think that even though it's not the same as what's in the trailer, I think that people are going to be very excited about this music. And I think that she's going to continue to be a very in-demand composer if she wants to be.
Great. And Dane Fagelholm says, is it possible for an indie film to make money?
I mean, I know that we're in a different budget sort of space, but you can look at a film like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which definitely a bigger budget than Duel, but it will make so much money at the box office. I think it comes down to ideas. It comes down to promotion, the cast involved. It's a long road sort of thing for indies. I look at something like my previous film, The Art of Self-Defense, where it made its money back at the box office, but you have to look at how much you spend on advertising and press and everything. So it will eventually make its money back if it hasn't already, but you can't look at it as an opening weekend sort of thing. I think on the indie side of things, you have to look at it as a long path and a long road.
Yeah, I agree. It's usually like, I mean, I've heard the average, and this was, went to the Sundance Producers Conference once, and they say usually from concept to screen is like 7 years. That's average.
Yeah, and Faults, my first feature, was a very, very, very low budget, especially when you look at some other first features. And I think that thing is still probably trying to make its money back. But the people who distributed it, Screen Media, they told me day one, we look at this as a lifetime sort of thing. We hope that people will always come back to it as you continue to make movies. And that faith from a smaller distributor is pretty cool, just like trusting the process.
Right. And then Fletcher Williams also asked, what colors did you focus on in the cinematography? I noticed I watch a lot of explainer videos, and you see that like there's almost like a color palette or like a lookbook that directors will create. Can you talk about that, the cinematography?
My first two films tended to be more on the yellow/brownish side. And so, but that fit the palette of those movies. And on this one, I really wanted it to feel colder, a little bit more, like, for lack of a better word, like lonely. And so our focus ended up being more towards the blue and greens. I mean, you'll see it in our poster even. That's kind of the palette that we were using. But kind of a muted, colder palette is the direction that we went.
Great. And then can you talk about what you're working on next at all? Is this too soon?
It's soon in the sense that I would talk about it if I totally knew what that would be, but I'm still just trying to kind of let Duel finish its process, and I think I can kind of turn my brain towards the next thing soon. But I am attached to a TV thing that has not been announced yet. We're going to be taking it out to networks, I believe, in 2 weeks, and some very exciting actors are attached to that, and hopefully we'll be able to talk more about it soon.
Cool. And another question from our chat, Solomon Thornton asks, how did you get your first films into Sundance? Do you want to talk?
I mean, people don't want to believe this, but the programmers watch literally everything that you send them, and there's no favors done there. So if you make something that is good and something that they like, you have a chance. It's not like a who you know sort of situation, no matter how much people like to talk about, like, oh, I didn't get in because I don't know somebody there. So my first short that got into Sundance, I think they saw it and they saw that they could program it. They played it before a feature called Hell Baby. So it wasn't in a shorts program, but they found a spot for it. And then this is my first film as a feature to play Sundance. The other two were both premiered at South by Southwest. So yeah, just make something that you're proud of and something that you feel like is worth making, and submit it. That's the answer.
I don't know how much longer we have you for, but we still have questions. Okay, cool. So we've got Fletcher Williams. What advice would you give someone wanting to get into filmmaking?
My simple advice is make shorts. Honestly, I think that the best path into making something on a bigger scale is to start on a smaller scale, and you can learn about your process. You can learn how to work with other people, which is a huge part of making films, and you get to practice. And so, don't go into something big. Like, start small. Similarly, if you're just a writer, you're going to have a hard time getting your stuff read if you don't have something to show as well. So if you can partner up with a director that you trust, or somebody with a vision that maybe you don't necessarily have on that side of the camera, make something that you're proud of. You can submit that to people and show them that. And if they like it, then they might read your script a little bit more likely than they would just kind of cold. So practice small.
I have a question about you shot Duel during COVID. A lot of films coming out now, same thing. Was there anything positive that came out of the way it had to be shot that you'll use in the future?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily fully use it in the future, but one thing that was positive on set was that we had to work in zones. So you have a zone A, a zone B, zone C, so that certain crew are never going to be in contact with the actors, just to avoid potential spread. And what was nice about that, while challenging, was that we had fewer people on set at any given moment. And not to say that I didn't miss having a larger group there, and I like the fact that other people get to be involved, obviously, and watch the monitors and stuff. But it did feel a little bit more efficient having fewer people there at any given moment. I don't know if it'll fully ever go back to exactly like that, but I do think that the fewer people that have to be on set, probably the better. But I also, again, like I said, I kind of miss the fact that some crew never really got to be there in the same way that they would have been on other films. So I feel a sense of sadness for that, but as an overall, I think it was more efficient that way.
Let's see. Patrick Lemire says a stint in working in food service should be compulsory.
Agreed. I worked at Sea Island Shrimp House in Austin, so I know all about it.
I love Austin, Texas. Lee Kindler says, what's your opinion on edgy material? Can a film go too far, or does it depend on execution?
I would say, yeah, it depends on execution. I tend to try to withhold a little bit, maybe not show everything. I think that audio goes a long way, imagination goes a long way. But then you watch somebody like Cronenberg and you're like, do whatever you want to me. Show me everything. I'll take it.
Well, especially with Cronenberg. I don't know if you saw the trailer for his new movie.
Oh, yeah. That's why it's on my mind.
Oh, my God. So bizarre. Fletcher Williams says, how did you do the editing? How was that process as the creator?
My favorite part of the filmmaking process is the edit. Everything along the way has its pluses and minuses. I mean, it can be incredibly fun and incredibly stressful to be on set at the same time. Writing is very challenging, but I find a sense of satisfaction there. But I love editing. I love that at that part, the pressure is off in a different way. You get time to explore and kind of put everything together. And this is my third time working with my editor, Sarah Beth Shapiro. So we have a very good working relationship. And while I could edit on my own if I needed to, and I tend to do that with all the shorts that I make, I love having another voice in the room. And especially the fact that we think about things in different ways. I think it's invaluable to have a person that you trust help you craft and be a part of that process.
Well, I think the editor is definitely, so underappreciated. Fletcher goes on to ask, what software do you use to edit?
For me, I use Premiere because it's as similar to Final Cut as possible. And I don't like the way that Final Cut works now. So I think back to like Final Cut 10. And since they stopped updating that, I switched to Premiere. And then my editor uses Avid. She's a huge proponent of Avid. So I don't know how to use Avid. So that's where she does all her tricks. And then I just say, maybe try this or that. And I get to sit on a couch and like lay down or whatever. And she does all the hard work.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to wrap it up right here. But I want to say, Riley, thank you for being on the Film Threat podcast here, talking to our audience. Congratulations. People were asking that came in late, asking, how do we see the movie? It is in theaters. Dual is, I'm saying Dual.
Dual. Yeah. Dual is in theaters today. Yeah.
It's in theaters today. It's Karen Gillan, indie sci-fi, high concept. Check out the trailer, or better yet, don't check out the trailer. Just go see the movie. But it's playing at AMC theaters. And I know Joe Lynch. I've known Joe Lynch for years. We work together at G4 TV. So Say hi to Joe tonight. He is the perfect person to do your Q&A tonight. So Riley, thank you for joining us on the show, and can't wait to have you back for your next film.
Thank you guys. That was a blast, and I love being just thrown straight into a live stream. Nothing better.
Yes, no, it's great.
It's great. Honestly, guys, you literally log in and all of a sudden you're live. So yeah, it was very fun for me.
That's the way to do it. No pomp and circumstance. Come on, talk to the Film Threat team, talk to everyone in our chat. Thank you so much. They're giving you so much love here. They're saying congratulations. Thanks, Riley. It was great listening to you. Thanks for coming on. Riley, congrats with the film. Have fun at the Q&A. Say hi to Joe for me.
Thank you, guys. Y'all take care. Have a good day.
All right. Take care, Riley. Later. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Oh, man.
Love these
That's
interviews.
Cool. Yeah. So the other thing is I'm there. So just so on this, let me see. I'm going to hide that real quick on the banner. Hide this banner. We're going to be wrapping up the show real quick here, but I want to remind everyone, we're going to be bringing filmmakers on the show. You know, I am fortunate having been around for as long as I have, and Film Threat, which is oddly, surprised to me, respected in the industry as a media outlet. We're going to be bringing you filmmakers, directors, screenwriters. Robert Eggers is coming on next week, but I don't know if it's going to be on Wednesday night or Friday. I don't know yet, but it's happening. One way or the other, either our Wednesday night Hollywood on the Rock show or whatever, we're going to have Robert Eggers. So if you have questions, tweet at me or tweet at Film Threat on Twitter, or at that Chris Gore. Let me know. I'm going to try to get, make sure, because we're not going to have him for long. I think it's like 15 minutes. But and then additionally, I'm trying to arrange to get the screenwriter for Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It looks like we will have the screenwriter here as well. So what am I trying to do with Film Threat? One, I'm not trying to be like other channels, right? I can't do what other I can't be the critical drinker, right? I can't be heel versus babyface as. I can't be Gary Beekler Neurotic. I can't do what they do well. I can only do what we do well at Film Threat, which we talk about indie movies that are obscure. We'll talk about movies opening on the weekends. We'll have a conversation with you. But also what I want to bring to you is the filmmakers themselves. I want to have them come on the show. I want to have conversations with them, and I want to give you the opportunity to talk to filmmakers. I think it's really important. So I think it's important that there's a direct connection with the audience, because that's what we used to do at San Diego Comic-Con. Used to be an opportunity for creatives to come and engage directly with the audience. And I think that, the way that we're trying to set up the show, and we'll do longer interviews. Normally when people talk to us, they've got like 20 minutes. It's like, okay, 20 minutes. I want to share that with you. I want them to come on, and we'll spend the first half, I'll ask some questions to kind of kick it off. And then I want to hear your questions in the chat. And Fletcher Williams, that's a very important question. Why is Alan not wearing the official t-shirt? Where's your
Yeah, I'll give you two reasons. One is I need to buy more. I only have
laundry
two.
day.
And the second one is I look at myself in a t-shirt on camera and I look horrible. So
well, no one would disagree with that. I think Alan, it's all gonna
I'm not
collared shirt.
I don't have the t-shirt body.
Well, I'm slowly
yours is better than mine.
Losing the t-shirt body as well. Infinite Main, $5 super sticker. Thank you, Infinite Main. We appreciate it. But we want you to know that, like, you're gonna, we're gonna have filmmakers on you've never heard of. And then we're gonna have some filmmakers on where it's like, oh, I've heard of their movies, or I'm happy to have learned about their film, from them being on the Film Threat Livecast. But, and then we're also like, occasionally we'll get a good get, but I want to share these with you. I want you to participate in the conversation process that we're going to be having. So thank you for showing up and joining our, you're part of the show. So I appreciate it. And next week is going to be a big week. We're talking about the bad guys, talking about the Northman, and we're going to get into Northman spoilers because you'll be able to see it in Geek Truth 64. Do not worry, Geek Truth 64. I missed the whole stream again. I'll catch it later. Geek Truth 64, definitely watch it. It was a lot of fun today. Next week's going to be big. I just got an invitation to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'll be seeing it on the Monday before it opens. Now,
see the Wednesday. So
okay. Is that a good sign? Is it that it's opening just the Monday before? Is it because they're trying to hide the spoilers? Or is it because the movie's not very good?
Or we're low on the picking list. Hey, I got to go. Sorry to...
Oh, that's right. You got to go for a phone call. So, Alan, I'm going to wrap up the stream. Everybody say goodbye to Alan.
I'll be in San Diego at the National Comedy Theater tomorrow. So if you
want to see Alan do improv, National Comedy Theater, look
okay,
up in San Diego.
Gotta go.
Take care, Alan. See ya. I'm going to get through this. We have Derek Douglas with another super chat here for $5. Neil Jordan in the Company of Wolves. Love your stuff. You get Neil Jordan on, I'll give you a $200 super chat. I'll do my best. A lot of these are, tied to release dates. Alan is, look, it's like I'm talking to myself. That's my cartoon avatar. What are you doing, Alan? It's a lot of it is a filmmaker's promoting a movie, but I want to bring them here. I don't want to interview them in a vacuum. I want you to be able to have a conversation. So there you go. Chris Clark. Hey, Chris, are there any modern movies these days that capture the look of a 70s movie? I'll tell you exactly. There is one. It may still be in theaters. It's called X. It's from A24. Look that up. It's a horror film that is also exploitation, and it's awesome. So there you go. I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to be doing Friday Night Tights in just a few hours. I am not prepared for that. I'm going to be on for 6 hours sitting in this chair. So I'm going to send you there to Friday Night Tights. I think it starts at 1:30. I'll be joined by a lot of YouTubers that I also watch, but Film Threat, we're trying to do something different here. We're trying to build community, and I want to give you access to the filmmakers, the screenwriters, the actors directly that can talk to you on this show. So I hope you'll join us. Right now we're doing live streams twice a week on Wednesday nights for our Hollywood on the Rocks. That's our drinking show. And Friday mornings where we talk about the movies opening that weekend. There's another show we're going to start very soon. Very soon, I have another show. It's going to be an afternoon show earlier in the week, and I'll tell you about that later. But thank you so much for joining us. The one thing, like Film Thread's kind of my day job. YouTube I'm doing for fun and on the side, but I'm also working on a documentary. That if you are attending San Diego Comic-Con, I'll tell you how to get tickets to see a screening of a film that I've been working on for a while called Attack of the Doc. And it's about my experience at G4 TV and being on Attack of the Show for almost 8 years. That wild ride. Here's a little teaser for that.
Chris Gore here at Spin Fusion in Los Angeles, where I come to find the latest and greatest in DVDs. On this edition of Asian Underground, prepare to have wisdom knocked into your brain with a high kick. A high kick. Oh, shit. Ow, my jeans.
You can find that clip somewhere online, but I just wanted to, I want to like take us out with a little entertainment there, And a final thing, we are going to celebrate every time we get 10,000 new subs. In the last month, just the last month, we grew with 10,000 new subscribers. We sort of look at our analytics, and YouTube will send us little analytics notifications. The last 28 days, we grew by 10,000 subs. So what we're going to do, because my goal is to get to at least 100,000. I want to get to 100,000. Every time we hit 10,000 subs, we're going to celebrate with a very special video. And I have been working on this video for years about Alan. It's something that Alan does that he doesn't even know he does. And I'm going to show it on the show to Alan and all of us. And we're going to get Alan's live reaction to a video he doesn't even know is coming. It's going to be very fun. And when we get to 40,000 subs, we're very close. We're maybe 2,700 subs away from getting to 40,000. When we get there, I'm going to debut this video. And every time we hit another 10,000 subs, we're going to celebrate with another video. But if you are new to the channel, you've just discovered it, please slap that like button and hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you know when we go live.
Oh, wow.
And that's it for me today. I want to thank everybody in the chat. You're still chatting. I love it. There you go. Yeah. It's crazy. Toxic Waltz N8 says, "Oh yeah, 30,000 wasn't too long ago." Yeah, it's bizarre. So we're definitely growing fast, and we appreciate it. We want to have a conversation with you. We want to talk about indie film. Indie film is my passion, my love, my specialty, and we talk about mainstream movies too. But want to talk about indie film because I want to inspire you to go out and make your own indie film, because you can do that. We just had Riley Stearns on today on the show, who made a movie with Karen Gillan, an indie sci-fi movie that's in theaters now that you can all go see. And he's an AMC A-list member, just as like myself. So I want to say thank you to everyone. And also I will see you on Friday Night Tights. Give a little Film Threat shout out. Maybe we can get some of the FNT, because they get like over 10,000 people watching. Maybe we can get a subscriber boost by being on FNT. And the last thing I'll say is, let's get out of here.